Welcome to Thin Fat Line, the podcast that explores the line between loving yourself just as you are and the unhealthy and toxic things we do and say, sometimes in the name of health. Hosted by Whitney Andrews, a girl who has been coming to terms with her own journey of health and self-love for as long as she can remember. Warning, the following conversations may be triggering and may discuss sensitive topics. Please move forward as you feel comfortable. The goal of this podcast is to create a conversation and community of support and understanding. Welcome to Thin Fat Line.
Hello, everybody. Good day, good afternoon, wherever you are, wherever you're watching this, listening to this. I am your host with sometimes the most, Whitney Andrews, with Thin Fat Line Podcast, the podcast that explores the blurred line in all things that we do in the name of health. So today we are actually talking about people being worried about our health. I'm just worried about your health. Those are the words spoken to me as I was told that I gained some weight in college. It didn't seem at all like they were concerned about my health. There were no questions about how school was going, my friends, anything else. It was just a simple, oh man, the freshman 15 plus some got you. And this may come as a shock to some of you, but my face doesn't lie. So in an effort, I probably had like sad on my face, just a look of defeat. I knew I had gained weight. I knew my jeans didn't fit. I knew they were a little uncomfortable. I didn't need anybody to point it out. So I'm sure it showed on my face. And in an effort for that person to save face or whatever, they said, oh, I'm just worried about your health. And this is the first of many times that I was told this, and it never really seemed about health. And this is why I say that. No one was worried about my health when they could see my shoulder bones. I mean, when I tell you it was like square coming out, no one cared. No one cared about my health when I was eating nothing but a McGriddle and one smoothie a day while doing 2 spin classes a day. People only seemed to care about my health, or to have cared about my health, when I was carrying excess body fat. And I could kind of really harp on like what bullshit that is, or I could sit here and say like, okay, so where does that come from? Because I truly don't think that anybody is, I'm gonna think the best, is trying to hurt my feelings, is trying to hurt your feelings. I think it's just, that's what we're taught, because somewhere along the way in society, we have decided that health is one singular thing. It is measured by one singular thing, and it's a scale we step on every morning with as many layers of clothes off as possible. Like, I always hate when I go to the doctor and I'm like, oh, can I please take off my shoes? Let me make sure I take, this sweater's heavy, right? Like, I'm wearing a heavy sweater, and we've decided that have y'all ever measured your jeans? Because I actually have weighed my jeans before to see how much weight that adds onto my body. And somewhere even myself kind of got it in my head that health is a singular thing. And we ignore financial health, career health, spiritual health, mental health. We also tie all things physical health to that number on the scale. And so I decided that in order to kind of see where this came from, I wanted to see how we defined health. So on my personal Facebook page, I asked, how do you define health? And we're going to go right now to it. As we're recording, I have notifications coming in. So if I get lost, that's why. But some of these answers were fascinating, and I'm not going to read all of them, but I think I'm just going to kind of go through some, and I think we'll get the picture. So somebody said your mental, emotional, and physical condition. Simple. Moderation in healthy and unhealthy, whether food or activity. I think it's healthier to have realistic expectations, like I'm going to work out for 3 days versus every day. Our breakfast may be a quick stop for breakfast burrito, but lunch or dinner will be healthy options. Some days can be a couch day, and some days need to be get stuff done days. Somebody else said, how I feel physically, mentally, emotionally. What am I doing to ensure healthy balance for years to come? Am I taking care of my body for now and 20, 30, and 40 years from now? That's one of my favorite answers, because she says like some of the key words, and it's how I feel. Like, your health is a very personal thing, and you need to be asking those questions. Excellent health is being free of mental and physical disease, and poor health would be all bodily systems diseased, in my opinion. I always love the in my opinion added to those. Somebody else kept it short and simple. Reading the name on this, I'm just going to give a shout out to Renee, my buddy. He said blood work and mood, just kept it simple. Kayla, finding personal balance. My friend Alicia, which Alicia Vaughn, this is your official invitation because you need to be a guest on the podcast. My body does not hurt to move. I feel comfortable in my clothes. I'm happy. I'm enjoying my family and friends. My spirituality cup is full. These may be so simple, but I struggle when I'm not healthy emotionally, physically, or spiritually. Notice not one mention of food. My health starts with an emotional state and everything else follows. That's probably something that I probably related to more than any of the other comments because I have found the exact same thing. When I got my emotional state in a more stable and healthy place, the rest of it followed. My friend Becca, how I feel both physically and mentally, emotionally, and what my labs look like. That will be different for everyone, and that's 100% okay. Calvin, y'all, this is my godfather. Health is weakness leaving your body. I have so many. To know Calvin is to appreciate that comment. 100%. Health is the state of, so this is my girl, Nikki. Health is the state of your mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. If one is off, it has the potential to throw the others off. Mental and spiritual health can have a huge impact on physical health. I could not agree more. We'll stop reading them there because you get the point. My point is that as individuals, we tend to define health and look within ourselves as a holistic thing. Yet when it comes to other people, somewhere along society has taught us that it's a singular thing. And it's only determined and can be determined by looking at somebody and how much excess fat they carry or how big they are, which is just not true. Even according to the World Health Organization, who says a state of complete physical and mental social, I'm going to start over there, blah, blah, blah. A state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease and infirmity. And I have to wonder at what point, if we know, if there's tons of resources out there that tell us that health is not a singular aspect, why then do we put so much pressure on ourselves and other people for it to be a singular thing based on the size of our body? It has been almost 22 years since I gained that 15 pounds. I have lost and gained a lot more than 15 pounds in the last 22 years. Social media has exploded in this time as well. And it seems that the amount of people that have comments on the size of my body has also exploded with social media, which I know is shocking to everybody. Never more so than when I'm carrying extra fat. When I lost 40 pounds due to eating 800 calories a day and taking migraine medicine, I was praised for getting healthy. I was far from healthy, physically, mentally, emotionally. But again, no one was concerned about my health. I was concerned about my health, and I felt very, very alone in that. And I think that alone is where I really think that if you find yourself having comments on somebody, a friend's health, your family members, especially as we walk into this holiday season, really think to yourself, am I doing something that has them feeling like they're part of my community, like I'm truly concerned, or am I just kind of starting to isolate them and creating kind of more of a system of aloneness and loneliness? So with all this, I'm very much a person that we've identified a problem. We know where it comes from. We know where it stems from. I mean, I've just solved all the problems, right? But what do you do as an individual when you kind of feel like this and you feel like alone? I want to pause real quick and stress that this is not meant to be any kind of professional advice by any means. I am not a professional in the health and wellness industry, but this is simply my story and what I found helpful. And I hope that it finds you to be very helpful for you. So I was really alone. I felt like all these comments that were concerned of my health never really offered any sense of help, never really offered any sense of community. And I was really alone, and I don't even want to add up. I think I'd be sick if I knew how much money I spent on, I'm going to use coaches in quotes because I believe that there are health coaches out there. In fact, I have a great one. But I also believe there are a lot of people that call themselves that have really no professional being at all. How much I spent on coaches, supplement shakes, and all the other fixes. I was chasing a singular version of health, which really meant that I was chasing skinny and only getting bigger. So the harder I chased skinny, the harder I chased the number on the scale, the bigger I got. And honestly, the less I thought of myself. And because I was really defining health as a singular thing. My emotional, financial, career, spirituality, and physical health was just in the tank. And it was in 2018 that I found this like really simple thing that we were doing, I think for a Bible study. And it really refocused me. And it was called the Wellness Wheel. And I thought it would be the perfect thing to share on this podcast because I know that I'm not going to change all the comments that everybody has. I'm not looking to, but if I can help you kind of learn how to respond to those and find some kind of solution and some comfort and to know that you're part of a community and you're not alone, then that's great. So the idea of the wellness wheel is that just like a wheel on a car only works if all the spokes, I guess spokes on cars aren't a thing anymore, all the spokes on that wagon that we're taking across the Oregon Trail, they all have to be equidistant. They all have to be balanced. We go to the car dealership or to get our oil changed, and they always kind of go balance our tires, make sure the air pressure is equal in all of them. The idea is that a wheel only works is if everything is fairly equal. So the idea is that you have all these, and I brought the one that I did in 2018, which I still have. That was a little ASMR in the microphone for you. So I brought the one that I did in 2018, but I'm going to link this in the show notes. I got this from theblissfulmind.com. It's really simple. She walks through everything, but the idea is that you go through these different places. And so this is a blank one. And you rank them 1 through 10. So you have physical health, eating well, exercising, quality of sleep. So that's kind of where we put our singular focus right now. Mental health, healthy mindset, emotions, relationships, how you feel with others. Are you connected to others? Recreation, your hobbies, your fun, your downtime, finances, budgeting, saving money, your career, your satisfaction with work, spirituality, personal growth, seeking understanding, and your home, your safe and comfortable living space. So you kind of rank these 1 through 10. And as you rank them, you'll be able to kind of see like, hey, where do I need to work on things? What tank is the most empty? Is it just overall? And how you work in those in a really holistic way. For me, the idea was to work to balance the sections. So if one was, instead of just getting 1 to 10 all at once, it was kind of like, how do I increase all the ones to 5 to be equal to the ones that were 8. And then once they get 8, how do we increase them holistically to 9, 1 by 1? So my mental health was ranked the lowest when I did it. My career was unfulfilling. My physical health felt hopeless at that point. And by doing this, I opened up where I needed to focus my energy. I hired a therapist. I quit working in a position that made me feel really icky, and I put all that energy toward working for myself, which is something that I was just talking to a friend about, is sometimes you just have to jump and take the risk. And for me, it was a risk worth taking. It didn't seem like much of a risk because there was more of a risk in staying where I was. I worked with a food therapist, focused on healing my blood work and my relationship with food. I found a community that I enjoyed being part of when I worked out, which, spoiler alert, the woman who built that community is going to be on soon. I could list 20 things that I did. None of it was a straight line. It definitely looked a lot like this over the last 3 years. And as we walk into a new year, I really want to invite you to define your health. What does it mean to you to be healthy? Whether it be the wellness wheel, journaling, hiring a therapist, whatever you find that works to kind of find that best version of yourself, really work on that. I invite those who have the comments of being concerned with the health or find the need to comment on what somebody looks like, whether it's even when you feel like it's a good thing, you have no idea what's going on. And I'm going to refer back to when people were praising me for losing all this weight and getting healthy, you just really have no idea what the internal battle is. And there are other ways to kind of go about that. There are so many other things to comment on besides somebody's physical appearance. I promise if somebody wants you to give comments about their physical appearance, they're going to do it. They're going to be like, look at me. They're probably going to be dancing. Take that invitation and comment on it. Give people what they want. But like, I would just recommend as you walk into these holidays, don't step into it unless somebody invites you. But really ask yourself, I know I'm just as guilty of it. I do it with my girls. I've done it with friends. I am just as guilty of sitting on both sides of this thin fat line between the person commenting on what somebody looks like and the person receiving the comments. And I really found myself that when I was the one commenting, I had to really ask myself, why did I feel the need to comment? And a lot of times it was just a mirror. It was how I felt about myself. It was that I was so consumed with what I looked like, that kind of singular version of health that I felt like I needed to comment. Some of it was fear too. So it was fear, it was an insecurity, and can this be the year that you stop? So really ask yourself why. Is it fear? Is it insecurity? Is it kind of how you feel about yourself? Can this be the year that you stop? So as we come into this end of the year, I always say, make little changes. That could be the little change that you make. When you're commenting on other people's weight, whether it be weight, size, or anything like that, there's a line that's crossed. It's not even a thin line. It's like a clear, big, thin, fat line, right? That's the thin, fat line. Unless somebody asks you for their opinion on size, don't give it. So now we're just going to list off like just things to keep in mind. There are so many other things to talk about. I feel like there's not a way that could be an entire like 10 episode series on like how many other things there are to talk about in life besides what somebody looks like or how they're carrying it. But I really just genuinely think that we can do better in 2022. And I just really want to invite you to let's do better. When we know better, we do better. So thank you for tuning in. If you're catching this on YouTube, then hit the subscribe button. If you're on social, you can follow me at Thin Fat Line on Facebook and Instagram. And you can follow my antics on TikTok at Wit Talk Andress. So Wit Talk Andress. And one last favor, if you are listening to this on Apple or wherever you listen to your podcast, if you could go ahead and drop a review, it really helps me out. Next week, we were talking about some good people to follow on social media in 2022. And coming up, we're going to talk about my journey to bariatric surgery. And in January, we're just chatting with Jada Bruce with Movement Fitness. Until next time, I just want to remind you to honor your body for what it does and not what it looks like.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Thin Fat Line. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We really appreciate that effort, and we'll catch you in the next episode.